This is my third attempt at aging and then grilling duck breast. The first one I lit just straight on fire. It was fine, and then it wasn't. And the whole grill went up because apparently duck breast is really greasy. I made the brine with orange, garlic, ginger, clove, star anise, peppercorns, coriander, bay leaf, soy sauce, black vinegar, salt, sugar, and cinnamon. I heated the brine up first, let it cool back down before putting the duck in. I took the bones and the wings from the duck carcass and made a quick stock. And then I took the skin and the fat left over, put it in a frying pan, and just let it cook really slowly until all the fat rendered out. And then I'll use that fat to cook things later on. I let that sit for 24 hours. Maybe that was a little strong. I think the end came out a little bit salty. I don't feel like the final product was rendered enough, specifically up and around the shoulder. That piece I had a hard time getting to stay near the flame. That's actually when I started having it flare up, was when I was getting that section. Also, I need to remember to poke holes in the skin. That should help it render a little more evenly and make it a little easier to get it crispy. This did get crispy a little bit, but not as crispy as I would have liked. I need to look into that. Maybe consider a dry brine. Mostly it was good. After setting my first duck on fire and then struggling with the second one, this time I waited until the coals were almost dead before I let the duck go directly over them. I left the duck breast up and to the left over the fires so that they weren't directly over the coals while I grilled chicken. And it let the duck render a bit before having to expose it. I used the meter probe thermometer to get the duck breast to 135, and then I actually started grilling the duck itself. Still had to be careful. It didn't flare up as much. I think it had done most of its rendering before then, but it got touchy. To serve the duck, it was on jasmine rice with a quick pickled onion, Vidalia onions, lemon, lime, cilantro, a little bit of serrano, and sugar. Just a real quick toss. I didn't let the onions sit and lose their crispness. I think more important than the finishing seasoning oil I used on the rice and the duck was the onions. The seasoning I knew was going to be oily. The duck was a little bit greasy, not as greasy as I've had before because it did render enough, but could have been better. But leaving the citrusy, acidic onions that are still a little crispy gave the contrast and cut through the fat. The herb oil is ginger, garlic, cilantro, serrano, and chili powder.